So downstairs we're studying Shantideva, and Venerable Jigme made a book out of some lectures I gave about Shantideva, and we would like to give a copy to everybody. And during my 3-year retreat, I gave a commentary on the last chapter, which is the dedication chapter, which is very, very beautiful. For example, he says, I dedicate the good karma of writing this book to all the women who are pregnant and giving birth right now in the universe. And then I pray that beautiful birds go to the hell realms and sing to the people there. And so on. This is a gift.
We have a lot more in the other room.
From me and Jigme. Okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you, Krishna.
Thank you.
Okay, go.
Okay.
If you run out, there's more in the other room.
Thank you, Jigme, as well for writing.
I didn't write it.
Hey guys,
And Katie formatted it.
what are the spiritual obstacles that are involved with mental afflictions according to the Detailist school? The spiritual obstacles involved with mental afflictions according to the Detailist school? And what is the state that results from removing those obstacles? Spiritual obstacles that are involved with mental afflictions, what's that?
That's a good question.
Thanks, man. It's probably the opposite of spiritual obstacles, which are
Not involved.
hey,
Can you talk about what your book's about? Well, we'll get our heads straight.
for you.
It's an injured, I guess.
Nothing, huh?
Yeah.
Alright.
Is it injured? Does that count as something?
So one of them is the tendency to hold to a person as being self-existent. That in Tibetan.
Darkness.
Yeah. What kind of?
Dark Sakti, Dark Sakti.
Constant. Great. And what comes along with that tendency?
Your moment.
Yeah, they sure do. The mental afflictions that arise from that belief. Cool. So what about the?
So there's a big deal about that. It's not as, I mean, it means you can't be upset unless you misunderstand.
Right.
What is the state that results from removing those obstacles?
Nirvana.
Yes, sounds okay. Good. Oh yeah.
Rajompa.
Sure. And then the spiritual obstacles which are not involved with mental afflictions.
For example, the way the anartha walks.
Yeah.
Not elegantly.
Yeah.
It's not
Ngengen. Right. And what causes Ngengen? There's an underlying something or other that really, yeah. Well, it is a shadow. But there's an underlying issue that really gives you some good Ngengen, as described by the Detailist school. It's a really popular thing in your school, especially.
To do with the aura?
Got to do with something that arhats may still have that maybe someone
Potential.
who reaches the result of the potential. There's a really cute Tibetan word for that that's really popular in
Manjiki
sports school.
Bakchak?
Right, yeah. So the bakchaks.
Subtle seeds.
Subtle seeds.
You're already perfect. You're already reaching Nirvana. You're already not suffering anymore. But because you kicked a lot of dogs in your lifetimes, you walk a little funny.
Right.
So what's the resulting state of removing even those? Buddha, right. Sounds good. Okay, Buddha. List, if you would, the 3 levels of enlightenment according to the detailists and how long it takes to achieve each state.
Nentu, Rangyo,
Nyan to, right.
Wait, in English.
listener,
Listeners?
self-made, Buddhist,
All self-made.
Nyan to ki.
and totally like.
How long does it take to get there? Whoops.
First one could take 3 lifetimes.
Yes, a mere 3 lifetimes. He says near do actually, right? He says,
You just say man.
yeah, no problem.
Yeah. John Chu,
Okay. Yeah, Nancy, John Chu. And then what's the next? Yeah.
It was like 1 eon or something like that.
Yeah, lousy 100 kalpas.
Oh yeah, Jakarta. Countless 3, Sumchang Ming.
Yeah, 3
Countless eons.
eons.
3 times a zillion times 10 to the 60th.
Yeah.
Oh, and then guess what? I wonder if you could help me. I had a title that I was struggling to translate for the bibliography. So I wrote a bibliography entry for a book that we did not have translated and here it is. I mean, it's a compendium of explaining the different groups and then
Okay, good. So there's a bigger book
okay.
called Shumtat Depa Rinpa Lape Koto.
Yeah.
And then it has chapters.
Okay.
Oh.
And from that book, Lay,
I see.
we're on the chapter called The Brief Presentation of the Different Groups. So a brief presentation of the different groups in quotation marks
Okay.
from the wheel for reading the different texts one by one.
Whoa. Okay. Okay. Great. Yeah, that good.
Other way word. So watch out for
Look out.
You good? Are we good?
Your book.
Okay, here we go.
Playing boss.
All right. So, explain your text to my lovely wife.
So we're doing.
She's fundraising for us, so she wants to catch it on her. They've raised $100,000 for ACP. Yeah. And all from small people, which is more stable.
So we're doing a commentary, which is an overview of ancient schools of philosophy, and to some meaningful extent, a guide through which the various states of mind we ourselves would go through on our progress towards a higher view of philosophy. And he's been extremely thorough in going through the classical non-Buddhist schools, and now we're on to Buddhist schools, and so now we're into the realm of schools of philosophy and understanding that we ourselves go through, that Lord Buddha taught us to go through on our progression towards the highest understanding of reality.
What might interest you is that the more modern versions of this genre, say from the late 1700s in Tibet, include Christianity in the discussion. And the authors before that had no clue about it. And there's pretty wild explanations of it. Okay. But it'd be interesting to read it someday.
Which I was also thinking to say that if if someone has a friend on a Christian path, that
Yeah.
this particular text is a very powerful volume for those
Yeah.
sorts of.
Yeah, I think it was given on Easter.
Yeah, it was the way given on.
And we talked about the events of Easter. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So here we go. We're on the beliefs of the lowest of the 4 Buddhist schools. We're talking about the beliefs of the lowest of the 4 Buddhist schools. And here we go.
Yente la gende nishu dang, shuk ne gi nam shak te pa dang, mempe dra chom bang, dok le nyam ne gyun shuk su gyur si pang de.
Yeah, now there's a subject which is kind of a circle called Genda Nishu. The 20 members of the Sangha, okay? But it means, 20 different possibilities for how you go through the 3 tracks. So 3 tracks, 5 paths each, 15 paths. How can you go to the second path on the first track and then jump to the third path on the second track, and then can you backtrack to the first path on the third track, or can you go to the third path on the third track? And it's all the flow chart. There's 20 possible combinations, and it's a very beautiful. It's the first book we ever translated. It's called Methods of Achieving the Path. And long ago, it's the first book, and we printed it by hand. I mean, it's bad, and I don't even know if you can find it nowadays. But it would make a nice flow chart. It would look like a mind map. If someone did it on a mind map, it would be very nice. So that's called the teaching on the 20 possibilities of how you go through the 3 paths. And so that is accepted by this school, the first class. Then there's a teaching on when you perceive when you go through the 4 fruits of the path, of the spiritual path, which are what?
Once returner.
Stream enterer.
Stream enterer. One time more to return.
Once returner.
No more time to return.
Non-returner.
And arhat.
Arhat. Okay. To return to where?
To the desire realm.
Yeah, you don't have to come back to the desire realm. So these are after you see emptiness. These are the 4 possibilities. According to the Abhidharma, each of these 4, as you reach them, has 2 parts. Okay, one is entering it, and one is residing in it, or being established in it. It's called shugne. So if you shugne 4, you get 8 possibilities. So, and it's similar to the Shepa and Supa. Explain.
The fight and the...
Yeah, the fight. The fight, yeah. Like you have a misunderstanding about something, and you meditate, and in the first half of the meditation, you fight. Problem-solving meditation, Qigong, okay? Then you make a decision halfway through the meditation. Oh, I got it. Then you go to Jogong. Then you just focus on that result, okay? Like you're trying to decide, am I really going to die or not? So the first half of the meditation, you're like, well, everybody I ever knew died. Everybody in history died. I got the karma to die. And you make reasons, and your mind is fighting with your mind. And then suddenly you say, oh my God, it's true, I'm going to die, okay? The first half is called shuk. You're entering a state of realization. And then the second half of that meditation is called, you stay there on the one object, joko. Oh, I am going to die, okay? So they make this division among the 4 fruits of the path of virtue, that there's an entering period, and then there's a period when you're there. Okay, so the fight, and then the result of the fight. It's specific to the Abhidharma.
But it's specifically in reference to the first 4 of the 5 paths.
No, to the 4, to Arhat, stream enter, once returner, and not stream enter, once returner, non-returner, Arhat. And each of those has a shukpa stage and a nepa stage, and that's an Abhidharma idea. Okay.
The result was there. You don't actually go.
We're about to talk about that. It's coming. It's coming quite soon. Yeah, the next line. Okay. They say tepa. That outline is correct. They say. So I might distribute the tepa to
First 2.
the 20. So they say that whole complicated thing about 20 possible paths, mind map, and the presentation of 2 stages for each of the 4 results of the path of virtue, okay? They say those are correct. And by the way, I learned it and I translated it from the lower middle way. So apparently you still agree to it by then, the 20, okay? And here's a really controversial one, which Stanley just brought up. Can you nyampa
Degenerate.
lay from the bang and the tok?
From the realizations and the sensations of an art.
Yeah, so a spiritual level in Buddhism has two parts. A, you have to give up something, and B, you have to understand something new. But here it's called bang tok. Give up, realize something new. Give up, realize something new. It's one word, okay?
They say it is possible.
Yeah, and they say see. Here's see as possible. We talked about it a long time ago.
Yesterday.
Yeah, here's the word see, meaning possible. Doesn't mean 10th link, doesn't mean kind of birth, doesn't mean pardo. It means, is it possible for a person who has eliminated their negativities to go back? Okay? And they say, duh, it's possible. It's possible for them to drop down, but they have to start from a memba drachomba. They have to be a lower arhat, meaning the first two tracks probably. A lower arhat can degenerate from their state and drop down to a gyunshu, which is 4 steps down. They can become just a plain old Arya.
Which is really,
Once yeah. They can go boo 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 boo. Okay.
which is really a problem if they accept Gyuchepa.
Explain to this group. Explain what you just said.
Yeah, there's a lower school thing, and I don't know how this sub-lower school, we have 2 lower schools, and we're in the 2 lower schools, but generally speaking, there's a lower school thing that says that your body and mind are discontinued when you reach the state of nirvana. So
Yeah, you just blink out. You just blink out.
So if they're implying that somehow you can degenerate from the state of not existing at all in body and mind, then you really have a problem.
He's saying, well, then do you blink in? You know, you already blinked out, and now you're gonna blink in again. You know, okay.
You said lower arhat.
Yeah, I think the answer. I'm saying first 2 tracks, listener and self-made Buddha tracks, in this school.
But of the 4,
No.
What?
I mean, well, you can reach Arhat on the first track, you can reach Arhat on the second track, and you can reach Arhat on the third track. As a listener, as a self-made Buddha, or as an enlightened-er. And the lower 2, I believe, are the ones that can degenerate. Yeah.
Does that mean you don't have mental afflictions and then you do have them again?
That seems clearer.
Well, that's exactly what he said. Yeah, that's exactly what he said.
Yeah.
You can degenerate from your small enlightenment, and maybe you get angry again. Like the guy who really irritated you came back from overseas or something. I don't know.
so Vaibhashikas don't, they're not listener or self.
They're not.
What?
They say there's 3 possibilities. Oh, no.
They self-
Yeah, of course they wouldn't put themselves in the lowest group. Yeah.
So they have
Okay. And by the way, they do have a presentation on bodhisattvas, which is very fascinating. So don't tell me Abhidharma people don't believe in bodhisattvas. They do. And they talk about Buddhas helping the whole world. Yeah, in the Abhidharma. The word bodhisattva comes. And
identify them with the 3 tracks, or what is
I'm sure they would say we're highest track, or, but let's not go there. Let's finish his, let's get going on his book. Okay. Now, next section. Sangyeki.
Sangyeki, Zepa, Chu, Nibo, Kaling, Kyang, Tek Chen, Tang, Min Drawani.
Anybody?
Yeah, they believe in
the 12 deeds of a Buddha.
but they don't see it the same
not
way
the
as
way
the
that-
Mahayana does.
Yeah, okay. They accept that the Buddha engaged in 12 great deeds during his lifetime, which is a Buddhist, it's like the Stations of the Cross. We believe that Buddha did 12 great things in his life. The first one was getting born, okay? Like that. And, but the way they explain the 12 and the way the Mahayana explains the 12 is different, okay? Here we go.
Oh.
Here we go.
Uh-huh.
Here's some differences.
Dampur, Jangtu to Semge, Ba, Ne, Sumte, Sula, De, Tuwa, Pen, Chela, So, Kiedan.
Yeah. So to start with, after he got bodhicitta, which happened in
Heck?
the hell realm,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
when he was dragging a heavy wagon with another guy and being whipped mercilessly, and the other guy kept stumbling, and Buddha said, "Whip me, don't whip him." And so the guy's like, "Okay." He whipped him to death, and he suddenly he came out. He got bodhicitta. He said, "I'll take it for everybody." And he whipped him and he killed him. And anyway, that they say that's when he got bodhicitta. Okay, in that moment. So from that moment until the su means the evening. And they say he got enlightened in the evening. So from the moment in the hell realm, when he got whipped to death, until the evening of his enlightenment, at which he dutulwa,
Defeated the demons.
4 demons. Okay, including death. He overcame death, like Jesus. Penche, up to that moment, he was a soke.
Wow.
Okay, until he fought the demons on the last night, he had not seen emptiness yet. But they wouldn't call it emptiness. They would call it no self. They cento, and then during that night, during the watch of the night, 6 watches of the day, during the middle of the night, he saw Deni. He saw suchness, and he actualized, or he achieved Tonglam. And then he became Parkpa.
Yeah.
Okay? Duh.
Yeah.
That's what they say. Okay? They're rewriting his history a little bit different. By the way, in Tantra, he's meditating with his spiritual partner, Tilotama. And they're in union in that whole night. And when the dawn breaks, they achieve enlightenment at the same moment. Very beautiful. Okay.
Yang Hoa ne rap tu chung wa ma zegi bardu kim patang de chen che ni rap tu chung wa dang ze pa yang de dang zene
Dene.
kim patang rap jungi ze pa yang gene
Ngunepar.
gene parde
Ngunepar.
gene parde
Yeah, then he passed away from that Arya life, okay? And then he still hadn't become a Rapchung.
Monk.
He hadn't been ordained yet. After Tongam, he, until the point where he became ordained, he was a layperson. During this whole time, he was still a layperson. He was not a monk. After that, he got Rapchung. Okay, he got ordained. And in keeping, if you follow his deeds this way, Dangtune means if you follow according to this version, okay, then his 12 deeds have to be split into ones that he did as a layperson and ones that he did as a monk, okay? Which is not the way other people might split it. And here's the like $300. This last part. I think I'm safe, V. Don't worry. I lost a lot of money in the last few days. Cancel the bet. Ngunepa is an idiom that means real. Real. Okay. Ngunepa, you know? Is that real? Is that real? Okay. Ngunepa. You have to say it fast. Ngunepa. Is that real? Okay. And they say that was the real thing. Now, what does that mean?
Then he was a real monk.
No, so my guy.
Meaning?
The Tachen was from.
Yes. What does the higher schools believe?
About which part?
He was enlightened before that life.
Yeah.
Everything in this life was a show. Everything. The birth, from the birth, becoming a monk, getting enlightened, seeing emptiness. It was all a big show. And he already became Buddha many, many lifetimes ago. And then he came to this earth and pretend to, oh, I'm going to leave the palace, you know. Oh, I'm going to become a monk, you know. Oh, I'm going to, you know. It's all fake. kind of like Jesus also, just divine being, come here and pretend to be human, pretend to get killed. So they say pretend, okay? Chaba, play acting. But here, this school, it was all real. It was all the real thing. Munepa. Okay, good? You got it? Okay.
Funny.
Keep going.
Nyangan le de be tse
It gets weirder, okay?
Kelembe de chinche suku gopal dumbar min de la.
Translate that much.
Let's
Nyangale depe tse.
time of his nirvana.
When you reach nirvana, this is another general belief.
When you reach nirvana, right? They say that
Yeah.
your awareness, the stream of your awareness, is cut off.
Yeah, just cut off. Just suddenly you're gone. Your mind is gone. Okay, that's nirvana. And after that,
Then your suku. They don't say that you.
yeah,
have a suku.
yeah,
Right.
they disagree that you could demonstrate.
Right.
A kupa means you put forward
Right.
a physical Buddhist body. They say not possible. Your mind is gone. Okay, so they disagree that you can have a rupakaya.
Okay. Which teach? Or they're just saying this about the Dhamma. About.
No, they teach. This termba means they teach. Yeah.
They teach. Okay. Even though the verb is.
No, I like it your way. Your way's better. I like it your way. They disagree that there could be a presentation of a physical body which we could point to as the teacher. I like that. Okay. Keep going.
Sangye ki tu gyu gi se mi kye shepe yeshe ni sangye kuncho ki yin kyang de supong de ni dongyal dembar de pe sangye kuncho du min du.
Yeah, this is pretty weird. Sangye Kitugyu means in the holy mind of a Buddha. Okay. Se Mike Shepa.
Does not arise.
This is a special Abhidharma, which is similar to Kun Shepe Shepa. We had it already, right? It means Sepa Dang Mike War Shepa. Your negativities are Sepa,
They're stuck forever.
and they will not come back.
Okay.
And you have this knowledge. And that's their word for enlightenment.
Okay.
Okay? You reach the point where you know things are done and won't come back. It's their word for enlightenment. Okay? And
Do you say that about him, but
this wisdom is Sangye Koncho.
that is the Buddha jewel.
Yeah, the Buddha jewel is the wisdom, which is the knowledge that things are finished and won't come back. Okay? But the physical body of this person who has that kind of knowledge is Dungyal Demba.
That's suffering.
It's still the truth of suffering.
Cool.
Okay. By the way, the truth of suffering is not a truth. It's the reality. Okay. The four truths are not facts.
Yeah.
They are things.
Yeah.
Okay. So in Buddhism,
Yeah.
the first teaching of Buddha, called the Four Truths, is a misnomer. It's not what it sounds like. It's not that he said this is this, this is this. This is Dungyal Demba. This is the truth of suffering. Okay. Okay, your finger is the truth of suffering. Okay, it means the reality. Okay, so they say a Buddha's physical body is still suffering itself. Okay, therefore they don't agree that there is such a thing as a
Physical Buddha jewel.
they don't agree that is the Buddha jewel. That body is the Buddha jewel. So they won't accept the three bodies or the four bodies or the two bodies, or that's a higher teaching. Okay. All right.
What are the three jewels?
There's only two jewels. No, there can be a Buddha's mind. It's the jewel, Buddha jewel, is his mind. His knowledge that things are finished and won't come back is the Buddha jewel, but not the Buddha's physical body. It's not the Buddha jewel. So if you're going to pray to the three jewels, don't pray to his physical body. Probably means you shouldn't have statues in temples. Okay. Just kidding.
Deshin du gendun kuncho kyang lopa pakpa nam ki tuk yu yi lam den la joki kansak de nam gendun koinchok tu min dun do.
Yeah, they should do in the same way when we talk about the jewel of the community. This is the trinity in Buddhism. The Buddha, the teaching of the Buddha, and the people who follow that teaching. Now, who are the people who follow that teaching?
Yeah,
It's the minds
of the students who are Aryas.
of Aryas who are still not Buddhas. Okay, yeah, Lopa means not mean Lopa. Okay, so yeah, the state of mind of people who saw emptiness but aren't Buddhists yet, that's that Lamden, the truth of the path in their mind, is the jewel of the community. Okay.
Joki kansak?
Sorry, joke key. This is a negative joke key. The key is disjunctive. But they don't say the community is people.
Okay.
They say the community is not people. The jewel, in the three jewels, Sangha does not refer to people. It refers to the reality of the mode of thinking of people who have seen emptiness but who are not Buddhas yet. Because then they would be Buddha jewels. Okay, got it? It's kind of radical. And it's very interesting to see it in one place, because otherwise you have to study Abhidharma for 12 years. To get these little pieces, you'd have to study. Stanley's on track for 2046, 31 or 32 years. He won't be done for 31 years. Okay, and you won't get these summary. We'll be ancient, he'll be old. Okay.
Well, not mention the Dharma jewel?
Yeah, they didn't say anything about the Dharma jewel. No. Here we go.
Yeah. Didang do depa ni ki chi den ye parn de pe den ma she kyang kak so.
Yeah, these guys, meaning the detailists and the Sautrantikas, these two groups believe that Chidunyu. Yeah, you're not watching a video in your mind. Things are really out there. Okay, and because they believe that, they're called Dunma. Yeah, objectists or something like that. And it's very comforting to see this sentence, because you often see the word objectists and you have no idea what it's talking about. And what it means is they believe when you're having a fight with your husband or your wife, the husband or the wife is out there, real, and you're not watching part of your own mind. Okay.
Wow.
So you're not really responsible. Okay.
We did a non-truth this term.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yay, we finished the first Buddhist school. Three schools to go. People are starting to get excited about their next book. You know? 25 pages total. 30 pages?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
We got the better input. We input a better version, and then we replaced
It got longer.
with this text.
Okay. All right, second school. Let's go. Let's make hay while the sun shines.
Niva do depe lukla shi tseni jadun yewa duptao.
Meaning?
Here's our second of 4 philosophical schools belonging to the Buddhist schools, and we're going to present this in 4 stages. The definition or definitive qualities of that school, the meaning of the name, the divisions of this school, as well as the actual philosophical beliefs of these sutrists.
Yeah, and the divisions of the last school was extreme headache. 18 different divisions, 5 different bases for each theme. We were so glad we're finished with it. When we did, I don't know, 11 divisions of one kind of Hindu and
11 eternalists.
yeah, it was.
It was a little fuzzy on how we split up the.
Well, he put 60 unrelated quotations in a row. Okay, here's the first.
Funny that he didn't have like formal definitions of distinct
Yeah.
nihilist schools, because if they're nihilists, how are you going to say you got a school?
Yeah. Okay, what's the definition of a person who's in the second Buddhist school, going from the bottom, right? Second from the bottom.
Well,
We're gonna lead up to the grand finale, and we're gonna have the high school, right? Okay, so here we go.
Tavoni rangrik dan chitun yika kelembe tekmengi tamawe kansakte dodepe semi.
What's the second school called in English? I mean, sutraist. Sutraist. Yeah, sutraist. Okay, here we go. They accept rangrik.
That your mind can perceive itself in the moment directly.
Yeah, because the lower school would say,
1 second later, nothing.
yeah, by the time you're aware of your thoughts, those thoughts are a millisecond old. You're watching light from a star that doesn't exist anymore. Okay, rangrik. And chidun.
Outer object.
Yeah, a husband who's yelling at you who's not part of your own mind does exist, they would say. And they are tekmen,
Lower school.
they're lower school, they're hinayana.
We learned from him just recently that this means specifically that they propound the beliefs of the lower way, because that, he said, was different than being a lower way person.
I think it's coming, or did we cover that?
We did cover that. He said
it's just something
specifically,
that way.
don't think that just because that
Okay,
person who is a lower way Maoist is the same thing.
okay, yeah. There's a difference between a lower motivation and a lower school. Don't confuse the two. Okay, all right, here we go. So that kind of people is the definition of a sutrist. Now we're going to talk about their divisions.
Ivani chomdendeki sungbe do tsemar sungne de jesu trangwe na do de bao.
I'm sorry, this is a Jadun, right?
This is the meaning of it.
Why are they called sutraist school? Why are they called that?
Because they,
And here's the sema used in the way that it was used in
as
Adam's text.
in the Tiv, the sutras, which are the scriptures spoken by Lord Buddha himself, the conqueror,
As accurate.
they hold as accurate. Yeah.
And that's the only thing they want to follow. They don't want to follow other stuff, which means they don't want to follow.
Collections of books by other arhats.
And because of that, they're called the Jesu Drangwe Na Do De.
Like the Abhidharma.
Yeah, sutra followers. So they only want to study and read the words of the Buddha himself, and they don't want to read the early compilations that were put together by human beings. They would say, we don't want to read books by human beings. We want to read books by the Buddha himself. By the way, the lower school, where they followed these long, dry, boring collections put together by human beings, lasted for 700 years. Okay, after the Buddha died. There was some kind of really serious bad karma connected with the Buddha's death, and people didn't understand emptiness anymore, and they just went to these dry books called Stanley's book. Okay, and then came Nagarjuna and changed it. Okay, possibly affected by Christianity, I don't know, but it's suspicious. There's something going on there. Okay.
The sutras, which were not written by Lord Buddha, they were written by
Oh.
those who remember.
Oh no, when they say sutra spoken by Lord Buddha, they're talking about, they don't want to accept these collections of the Abhidharma put together by the 500 arhats and the 3 councils following the death of the Buddha. Yeah, they don't want to spend their time on those. Yeah, those are put together by human beings. We're not interested. Okay, here we go. Dotsemar Sung. They consider sutras to be. That's the truth. That's the truth. Yeah. Okay, let's divide this school.
Suba de la yena ni de lungji jedang rikpe jedang gi do de bao.
Okay, what's that? We had this, but we had it for the mind-only school.
Right. We can divide the Sutrist school into those who follow scripture and those who follow logic.
Good, yeah. Which are considered more intelligent?
In this school, we don't know yet.
No,
In general,
we call it the logic school.
yeah, in general, people who think out what's correct to do are considered healthier mentally than people who just follow what's in a book or what somebody says. They question. People who question are considered more, in Buddhism, are considered better students. Okay. Okay. He wants to question it. You just proved it. Okay.
Or not.
Okay, Dambani.
Damani, ngumpa ze ki je tang gi do de pa la tabu.
Dede Patabu. Weird.
Okay.
What do you think was stranger than strange? Stranger and stranger?
Grosser than gross.
Curiouser and curiouser? Something like that. Okay. Yeah. Then the second group is called
Nipani sema de dungi je sujang we do de pa la tabu.
Dode Patabu. Yeah. What are the two groups?
You've got the.
Inside the second school, what are the two groups?
Oh, inside the first school?
No, second group. We are on the second school.
Oh, inside the second school, you got two groups. The ones who follow logic and scripture. Scripture and logic.
Those who follow scripture.
You've got the guys who follow Stanley.
Stanley-ish, Shaltantra.
Now wait, tell me they're called Sutraists because they don't accept the first school's books, which were put together by humans, and then the first division of the Sutraists is people who like those books.
That's pretty weird. Or do they shade towards the beliefs of them, not the books themselves? It says right there they follow.
It says here they follow the kosha, not just the Abhidharma. They follow the kosha. Go figure. Okay. So what's the group that follows thinking as opposed to just believing the book?
We didn't get to that yet.
No, it's right here.
The 7 books.
They follow the 7 books of. No. The 7 books of.
Dharmakirti.
Yeah, Dharmakirti and Dignagas.
Yeah.
But are the 7 not all Dharmakirti?
I would say yes, but I'm not totally sure. Okay. Anyway, if someone wants to translate a great book, Daedun Yuki Munso, Kirupje's commentary on the 7. If you have 20 years to spend. I started it with Ningbo and he collapsed, so I have to do it over.
This is
Okay.
surely a thing we need to know. Should we, I mean,
Yeah, so those Sutrist guys who follow the 7 books of logic are the thinkers. And then there's part of the school that just kind of likes the Abhidharma books, the kosha.
They say Abhidharma are not thinkers, they don't think.
Don't get offended, Steve.
People in the second school who don't think out things very clearly just take what the Abhidharma school says. But that's a contradiction because they're supposed to, the name of their school is people who don't like the Abhidharma.
You have 3 minutes.
Why don't we put this group of people into the first school, right?
Yeah, I don't ask me, I didn't do it.
How are they going to see that?
Okay, yeah.
Probably not.
I don't think you will see it. But it's uncomfortable because don't forget somebody put Dignaga and Dharmakirti in the mind only school. So
is there a mixed non-translation school need to list the 7 or like just drop into?
well, I'll throw something at you.
All right. That may distract me.
He's about to explain what's the Ngumba Dedun,
I see that.
That's cool.
of which the Abhidharma Kosha is not included.
Right. No, oh. Oh, no,
No, that's the treasure box in which.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it possible this Sema is mistaken?
No, Sema means accurate.
No.
No, I'm joking.
Is it possible that somebody made a big mistake here and said,
Yeah, maybe.
you know, it should have said Ngumadeden?
Because we'll see.
Because the next sentence lists the ngumba dedun.
Yeah, so that's
Why would you do that?
right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable. But they are also famous for following.
They are,
Some.
yeah. But let's just put ngun.
It says,
Okay. Okay. We have time? How much time we got?
2 minutes.
Yeah, let's finish this.
deal.
By the way, then we can finish their divisions.
Okay.
Okay.
Ngumpa de ni sharibu de pa de be che pungbo shebe ten che sok dumbo de ni yin la jedak mawe de nam sangye hi karn de kyang do de be dra chomba de dang de da ki de pa yin yi sangye hi ka min no she dun do.
Yeah, and I just canceled my little theory above
Okay.
because now this sentence is clearly doesn't refer to the Tsema Dedun. Okay. Ngumba Dedun, what are the 7 books of Abhidharma? Okay. Which is not the same as Abhidharma Kosha, okay? Kosha is a summary of the 7, right? Okay. So don't get it confused. You can be Abhidharma without being Abhidharma Kosha, okay? Well, there's the heap of the Dharma, piles of Dharma, which was put together by Shariputra. Why didn't they say written by?
Because he is a collection.
He just put it together. Okay, yeah, okay. Shepe, Tenja, etc. Thanks. He says, you want to know what the 7 are? Yeah. Well, here's the first. And you know the others. That's the 7, okay? And the first school guys say that these are the ka of the Buddha.
The word of the Buddha.
Yeah, what famous place do you know that's ka from? The Kangyur, okay, yeah. So they say it's the word of the Buddha, but the second school guys, they say they were just duped by Dedan De Jachomba.
Those other guys.
Yeah, by this Sarhat and that heart. These human beings put these books together, okay? That's the position of this school.
Oh, we're out of time.
Yeah.
Well, no, okay, that's cool.
And they say, look, they were just put together by arhats, human beings, and they are not the Sangekika.
Sure.
Yeah, that's the position of the second school. Okay, got it?
Okay, so between this paragraph and the last,
Yeah.
he mentioned Chunguma, okay?
Yeah.
Dharmakosha, okay, which some of those guys follow. Then he said some of the guys follow the 7 books on logic, okay? And then he said they don't accept the 7 books of Abhidharma as the word of the Buddha.
Right.
Right? Those are 3 different statements?
Yeah.
Did he say those 3 things distinctly?
He did. I mean, it's a I don't know. We got to chew on it.
So do we need to list 14 books in over 2 footnotes here?
Looks like.
Yeah.
But I would confirm in another commentary that this is what's going on and that he hasn't confused 2 sets of 7 books.
Okay.
Okay.
And FYI, the first 7 set is footnoted in my book.
Yay!
Yay.
First word.
So we're getting overlapping footnotes. And now that's one reason why we can speed up. By the way, that's one reason why we can speed up. But I really encourage you to don't just insert footnotes. Like put it into your style. Like massage it a little bit so it doesn't sound like someone pushed someone else's footnote into your book and it doesn't sound like you anymore. Okay? Yeah. That's a trick that you should know. Don't just copy a footnote from somebody else. And don't just copy a bibliography entry. Check it, because half of them are wrong. Okay, and they will spread. The disease will spread. What? Yeah.
Didn't you write a whole thing on Dun Munsel already as well? You gave us a whole talk on it.
Oh, I probably did somewhere. I mean, I've done everything, so. No, I mean, there's 10,000 talks, so people say, oh, you taught that already, and I'm like, I don't remember. I did do it somewhere. Okay. Puki Joshin Meto Tra Rira Blingshin Ninde Gambadi Shindu Mite Uagi Roku Namda Shina Chupasho Inam Guru Radha Mandala Kamya Dayami Di Kewokun Sanam Yeshe Tzozokshin Sanam Yeshe Lechuwe Tabakuni Topasho Shmogli Dogre. You're very welcome. I think his is going to be the second book done after, or no, Utpala, I think. She's going to beat you, I think.
How many pages do you have?